was the year 1809. In a little log cabin deep in the wilderness of Kentucky, on February 12th, a son was born to Nancy and Thomas Lincoln. They named him Abraham.
Mighty fine-looking lad, Mr. Lincoln.
Oh, my, what big feet.
Not too handsome a boy, is he, Mrs. Lincoln?
But this is America. You never can tell. You might grow up to be the president.
That's right. You never can tell. Pretty baby, wealthy baby, not this little fellow. But he had the same chance. He was an American. That's important.
Tom, isn't our Abe a bit solemn?
Yes, but I wouldn't worry, Mother. Just look at him grow. Why, it won't be long before he's bigger than his sister Sarah.
Yes. Abe outgrew his britches even before his mother had the buttons sewed in place. It was a good thing, too, because there was plenty of work for a strong boy around the Lincoln farm.
Come along, Abe. Time for spring planting. I'll help you up on the horse.
But, Father, he's so big.
He won't hurt you. A warm breeze is big, and so is the summer rain. But like that horse, they're mighty gentle. They're our best friends.
And so Abe began to learn all there was to know about a farm, to love the animals and care for them, to sow the crop and reap the harvest. But as Abe grew, so did America. Men of Kentucky, I've come to tell you about a great new state. There's good land out there and more timber you can shake an axe at, and it's just waiting for your kind of pioneer. The United States government wants to know how many of you men are aiming to go.
How about you, Tom Lincoln?
Well, I guess I better talk this over with Mrs. Lincoln. And that's the way it is, Nancy. Seems to be a good opportunity. I reckon we ought to go.
It was only 100 miles to their new home in Indiana. Why, a train could make that run today in less than 2 hours. But it was different in those days. It took the Lincolns almost a month. Finally, deep in the woods at a place called Little Pigeon Creek, they built their new home. To build a new home when Lincoln was a boy wasn't an easy job. It called for a lot of hard work, and all hands were kept busy, day and night, chopping down the trees and clearing away the brush. But the Lincolns were hardy people. They managed. Then, one day...
Abe, I've got some sad news for you. Your mother just went to heaven. I know that's a hard blow for a 9-year-old boy.
We'll both miss her, won't we, Pa?
But it wasn't long before Tom Lincoln brought Abe and Sarah a new mother. She was a good woman, and she loved Abe.
Time for bed, son. A weary body makes a weary mind.
There's a hard day ahead tomorrow, Abe.
But, Father, this book is such fun.
Well, I guess we can let the boy read a bit more, Tom.
I've never seen anyone read so much.
It won't hurt him. What's that you're reading, son?
The Life of Benjamin Franklin. And I must return it tomorrow.
All right. Go ahead and finish it. I'll just take the shovel and perk up the fire a bit.
Father, not that shovel. I have my lessons on it.
Abe's blackboard was the back of a shovel. His chalk, a piece of charcoal.
My eyes are getting tired. I guess it's time for bed. I'll hide this book where it'll be safe.
Abe placed the book in a crack between the logs and went to bed. That night, while he was fast asleep, there was a big storm. But Abe was so tired he slept soundly until morning.
Mother! Mother, my book is soaking wet. It's ruined.
Oh, Tom, look at Abe's book.
Well, son, I sure wish we could help you, but we don't have enough money.
That's all right, Father. I'll tell Farmer Crawford what happened. Maybe he'll let me work for him until I've paid for the book.
Abe was a fast worker, and in just 3 days, the farmer felt that he'd done enough work to make up for the loss of the book. But not all the work Abe did away from the farm was to make up for books he spoiled. One day, two men walked up to him.
Say, lad, is that little boat of yours sturdy enough for the Ohio River?
Yes, sir. I built it myself.
Then how about farring us out to a steamboat sitting in the middle of the river?
Yes, sir.
John, look at the strong hands on that boy. Why, they're bigger than mine.
Wonder how old he is.
Must be about 16. Say, son, how old are you?
10, sir.
10? Gosh almighty. Well, here we are at the steamboat, and here's a $50 for your trouble.
For me? $50?
That isn't enough. Here's another.
Oh, I didn't mean
It's
it was...
all right, son. You certainly earned it.
Gosh, $2 half.
Abe jingled the shiny $50. Then a terrible thing happened. One slipped from his hand, and just like that, half of Abe's wealth disappeared into the bottom of the Ohio. But Abe learned there was money to be made working on the river. Some years later, a tradesman approached him and said,
How'd you like to make a trip down the river to New Orleans, Abe?
I'd like it fine, Mr. Gentry.
Well, it's a pretty long trip and a lot of hard work, too. Just you and the youngster going.
I'm used to hard work.
by morning they were fully loaded, and the long, weary, and dangerous journey began.
Gee, Alan, I never saw so many steamboats in all my life.
Don't forget, this is the Mississippi.
It's a mighty river. Wake up, Alan, wake up.
What is it, Abe? What's the matter?
We're in New Orleans. There she is.
Yippee!
Abe sold the cargo and the boat for a good price. Then the boys took a long walk through the modern city. It was a thrilling adventure, except for one thing. And what am I offering for this here darky? Why, look at him. He's as big and strong as a horse. He'd make a good slave for some cotton planter.
Alan, isn't that cruel? I wish I could do something about it. Maybe someday I will. Let's go home.
The trip home gave Abe a lot of time to do some thinking. A seed had been planted in his fertile mind. A seed destined to change his entire life. But we'll come to that a little later. Right now, the neighbors were talking about the strength of lanky Abe Lincoln.
Imagine! He wanted a pair of pants, so he split 1,000 rails.
1,000 rails for just a pair of jeans?
But he's a mighty long ways from the ground, and it takes a lot of clothes to cover them legs.
But Abe was still growing. And before the Lincolns realized it, their boy was 21 years old.
Well, if you feel that you want to go, Abe, it's all right with me. You're a man. You're 21.
I like it around here, Mom. But the most a man can do for himself is split rails and get muscle.
Then I guess this is goodbye, son.